So, what year were you born?
I'm born in 1990.
1990? And were you born in Taiwan?
Yes, I was born in Taiwan,
Cool. Where at?
Taipei City.
Where was that?
Taipei, that's the capital city.
Taipei. All right. And would you mind describing Taipei a little bit?
Like describing in terms of back then or now?
Then.
Then,
And then if it has changed at all, if you've gone back, then a little bit is that too.
okay, Taipei has been always been very busy. I mean, it's a capital city. Back then, we live in like so Taipei, you have the Taipei City and New Taipei City. That's kind of like the satellite towns around the capital. And in my childhood, I did not spend much time in the center. Basically, all my friends and schools I goes to, it's all in the satellite town. Um, but now, because as you grow older and you go to school, so you spend more time in the center, which you have access to the tall buildings, like a very modern city, and it's very easy in terms of transportations compared to where I am right now, middle of nowhere. So yeah, it's a great city, and people there are very nice, very friendly. Yeah.
Nice. So what's the earliest memory that you have of your childhood?
Earliest memory. So when I was like, about my childhood, like what age you're looking for?
Well, this would be the earliest memory.
Okay.
So,
So I guess my childhood is split, like in the way I see it. So it's split because my father moved to China and did business there when I was in third grade. And then before then, we living together as a close family, four people, parents, and a younger sibling, my brother. And, I go to a normal elementary school and everything. But things has changed since my father moved to China. And that's really a big, almost like I don't know, it's like split up, like, and the rest of my childhood, as far as I remember, it's being home with my brother. We're trying to take care of each other because my mom has to work and taking care of us while my dad was away. And we are very sufficient, like we do everything's by ourselves. We'll go home and we'll eat. My mom will run to home and, during her lunch break and come bring us lunch and go back to her work, and we'll just stay at home and do homework, and we'll leave when we're done. We go to park and play. Taipei is a city where you can do that. You don't need to worry too much about exposed to that people, or the traveling or everything. Everything is adjacent to each other. It's walking distance. We can just bike through the park and come home, and my mom will get out of work and we'll eat dinner together. Yeah, pretty much it.
all right. So how would you say that how your relationship with your parents was?
So I have a close relationship with my dad. My dad's that kind of person that he's a good dad. No, he's not a good dad. He's a good friend.
Okay.
A friend that you can hang out with, like has a lot of fun ideas. But in terms of being a parent or like a breadwinner of the household, that's not a thing. So even though my dad did business in China, but he didn't really do anything there. He just wasting money.
No.
Yeah, so my mom it's weird because, we're from a Taiwanese, Chinese influenced family. So, the father figure are expected to be the breadwinner of the household. But in my house, it's a little bit different. My mom is the sole income, and my dad will have income here and there. He used to make a lot of money, but then, he just decided he want to go to China. So my dad is it's a good friend. You can, he always have fun ideas you can hang out with, a party planner, whatever. Like he has a lot of friends. He's very friendly with people. He doesn't have a lot of money, but people like to hang out with him. um, and so are we, because he's less strict on us. Whereas my mom, being the breadwinner of the household as a mother figure, and in a male dominant society, she undergo a lot of pressure, and she has a lot of, I guess, childhood trauma from having a, broken apart family. And she's very self-conscious. And even though she's a breadwinner of the household, my dad's parent look down on her a lot because they think she's not from a good family, whatever. So my mom's always been very strict on us. Like she kind of see us as someone that fulfilled the dreams that she can never get to complete, as a person. So she always wanted us to do good in school, and very strict about, us being respectful and having manners. And yeah, I don't know. My mom's super frugal. So, when you're a teen and, you have all your friends, especially girls, expected to be, fashionable, wearing clothes like this and that. My mom's never like, no, she will never allow us to be freely on money. Very strict on how we spend our money. Yeah.
And what did your parents do for a living?
So my dad's, we always joke about like the only purpose he's here is play on this
Play?
earth. Yeah, he used to like run his own business, for our, how do you call that, like city planning.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he just stopped doing that business. He decided to go doing like trading. He owns this business and trying to move that business to China, but fail. And then some point he decided to be a chef, and he'll stay in Japan to be a chef, and then kind of in and out of food industry. And he just stopped working after we all moved back from China. And my mom worked as an accountant. She's not a licensed accountant, but she always worked with finance.
Cool. And how was your relationship with your brother?
We were very close, I would say. We are very close, even up to this point. We're 2 years apart, and we're going through a lot, like when the whole family moved to China, or when my dad was away, we kind of take care of each other a lot. When my mom's at work, my dad's at China. And my brother, even though he's younger than me, he's more mature than me. At some point, for different things, he's very attentive to details. And like me, I'm kind of careless, a part that's get from my dad. Yeah, and my brother is more like cautious, about different things. And like at one point, my parents almost going through divorce, and we kind of like being there for each other. Yeah, and he right now, I moved to United States like 7 years ago, and he was away as well. He was on ship for 3 years, and he's now in Canada. So even though in our not adulthood, we didn't spend much time together, but we Skype a lot and talk on the phone a lot. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. What about your extended family? Did you have a close relationship with extended family?
So yes and no. Yeah. So my dad is from the southern part of China, Taiwan, and they owns a lot of land in a place called Meinong, and that place is like a town, like a farmer's town. So there's, even though you owns a lot of land, you're still pretty much poor because there's not much you can do with these land. And his 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 father was kind of like him, from a rich family. He doesn't need to take on a lot of responsibilities, and he just kind of, I don't know, like frat boy kind of. If
Okay.
that explains. Yeah, like have a lot of friends, hang out with, but not so much taking care of the family. And my grandmother is a midwife, and she helps out a lot in like a rural town in Maine, help out a lot of people to give birth and stuff. And even with the poor, like I always learn story about my grandmother that, there are some families who can't just afford to get a midwife, and she always being there and, willing to do it for free.
That's very
And
sweet of her.
yeah, and then she married a fat boy. So yeah, so they both from like good family, I guess, like in terms of like wealth and I guess my grandmother's father is a principal of a little elementary school there. So, and they had, my grandmother and my granddad had 8 kids, and my dad is the youngest son. And if you're familiar with any Asian culture, like the youngest son is typically the one that's gonna succeed the frat characteristics. Yeah, so my father is pretty much like that, and he has 6 sisters, older sisters, and they're very six. They spoil my dad a lot. I think they're like 20-year-old apart. The oldest one and my dad, 20-year-old apart, and my dad also has an older brother. And I don't know why it must run in the family. Like 4 of his siblings are deaf; they can't hear. But they were not born deaf. They just become deaf in their adolescent. Um, so that's their family. I would say my relationship with them, they always, because I'm a girl, the way they see me is, and then I'm, compared to Asian women, I'm chubby, not like the typical slim, tiny figure. And it's just the way they greet me. It's always like, oh, how many weights you have gained, or oh, you look so fat. They think that's a way of greeting, or like, building a relationship with you. And I did not notice like how hurtful that can. I mean, I know it hurts, but at the same time, you kind of push off that feeling because you're in a culture where you're told to respect the elders, not to challenge them. So I kind of just push off and not make a big theme about it. And even my parents talk about my weight all the time, even up to this point. Um, so, and they always compare me to the male cousins in the household, like, oh, so and so go to a good college, so and so is becoming a doctor. Why didn't you do that? Or, what are you doing in the United States? I went to a community college, and they look down on that too. They're like, what is a community college? Is that because you can't get into a good school? And even though now I'm in, UMass Amherst, they never heard about it. So they think it's a bad school as well. I guess it is.
Oh, that must be difficult. I'm sorry.
So I think coming to United States, keeping some distance with them, it's really nice. I love them. I love all my aunts, but sometimes the way they reach out to you is not very pleasant. And I told my husband about, my husband's from here, my husband's white, and I told him about this. He's very surprised, and every time he go back, he will say to my aunt right at their face, like, no, she's not fat, I love her, just purposely saying that loud out. And they think it's fun, but then, after a while they won't say it as much in front of him. which is good. Yeah, in terms of my mom's side, like I say, my mom's from a very broken family, and there's a lot of alcohol issues runs in the family, and my mom didn't have a very good childhood, always running around because my grandfather loves to gamble and he owes a lot of money to different people. So they's like moving around a lot. And my mom has an older sister and a younger brother, and they both did not do very well themselves. So my mom kind of seen as the only one, the black sheep in the family kind of thing. But then she also take up a lot of responsibilities to help her parents and her siblings. So that's I hope I'm not going too detailed or like too, what is it, tedious, petty.
I appreciate anything you're willing to share. Um, so, kind of shifting away from family a little bit. Um, what language did you speak at home as a child?
We speak Chinese at home. But my dad's from Hakka. That's like Cantonese is a different branch under the big Chinese umbrella. It's a dialect. So he speaks Hakka, but my mom also speaks Hakka, but it's like a different types of Hakka. Sorry, not to confuse you, but yeah, but then because my aunt, like I say, a lot of my aunt and uncles are deaf, and they speak very limited Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. They understand Hakka better, and so we don't sign, they read lips, um, and they also write. And so I grew up listening to Hakka, but I can't say it very fluently. I understand it, but I can't say it fluently. And I started starting learning English in preschool. So at a very young age, we are already learning English.
Okay, interesting. So you, so sorry, just to make sure that I was understanding you properly. You said that you can understand Hakka, but you don't speak it very fluently?
Mhm.
Okay. And was that the only form of Chinese that you spoke at home?
I mean, I was exposed to Chinese. I mean, not Chinese. Taiwanese.
Taiwanese, okay.
Taiwanese. That's from my mom's side. My mom's side, even though they're Hakka as well, but they speak Taiwanese once in a while, and and also their Hakka is not the majority in Taiwan. The majority is Taiwanese in the past. So you were exposed to Taiwanese, but not like I can't say it very fluently either. I can understand it, not as much as I understand Hakka, but you know, it's weird. Like I don't know how
Okay.
to explain to you.
Um, what kind of conversations did you guys have around the dinner table growing up?
So dinner table. I mean, because that time you don't have phones, right? So you kind of have to have a conversation. So we talk. I mean, I'm always that kind of kids, like to talk about schools all the time. The dramas you have with your classmates and everything. And I liked. My mom noticed like I really like to listen to people's conversation. I'll pretend I'm doing something, but I'm eavesdropping. So I will tell my mom's, gossip around teachers or schools. And my my brother is more quiet. It's quieter compared to me. Um, yeah, I weird because I don't remember like, most vivid memory would be me, my brother, and my mom without my dad being there. Yeah.
Interesting. So you said so most of your conversations were discussions of eavesdropping then.
Yeah, like gossip about teachers and like, oh, so and so's mom's doing this or that. Yeah.
It must have been kind of interesting. Um, what was your favorite food growing up, and who usually prepared it for you?
Hold on, this is gonna be hard.
Or favorite foods if there's more than one.
It, um, so growing up, I like to eat my mom's vegetables noodles. It's just, I don't know how she did it, but like she'll come back in lunch break and just cook that for me, like when I'm home. I don't know why my brother's not in here. He must be in like in the school still, but I'm home and my mom will come and cook that and then leave. And I'll eat that. And I really like that. Vegetables, fruit. It's just basically whatever she can find in the fridge to throw it in the soup. Yeah. And when we're a kid, I remember when we, get a hundred or A's in class, my mom will bring us to McDonald's. At that time, McDonald's is more like a reward because it's more expensive compared to other foods. Um, so we'll go to McDonald's, and I remember my friends love chicken nuggets, and I'm like, why you like chicken nuggets? You should like Big Mac because you blow you up. Yeah. So those two foods I would say. Yeah.
Are McDonald's common in Taiwan?
When I was a kid, no. But
No.
that, yeah, when I grow older, it's, yeah. And then I don't know why, because when you're a kid, then you feel like, whoa, the meal is so big. But then when you grow older, you're like, this is nothing.
So, what was a normal day like for you at the age of 10?
Age of 10. So in the morning, we'll rush to school. Um, my dad's not there, so my mom has to feed us and get us ready for school. My mom ride a scooter, and me sit in the back, and my brother will sit in the front, and we're just kind of three people on the scooter. You're not supposed to do that, but it's kids and it's old days. So then we rush to school, and you stay in school from 8 to 12. You pretty much have 4 classes in the morning. And in Taiwan, it's not like here, it's it's like here you see kids on the floor, like carpet time. No, there's no such a thing in Taiwan. You pretty much just sit there for the whole time. And you have like 10 minutes break in between. And for lunch, either my mom will pack us something, or she'll bring us something during her lunch break. Um, so we'll have lunch in school, or I never liked the school lunch, even though the school lunch compared to United States is so much better. Yes. And then we take nap in school too. So it's like 1 o'clock, 12:30 to 1, and then you wake up, you take more classes, 4 classes in the afternoon too. And at 3 o'clock, everyone in the school has to do cleanup. Like you have to sweep the floor, not just like, clean up your classroom. Everyone has to clean up the toilet too. Like every class takes turn to do parts of the campus, which is, I think it's awesome. Maybe I'm not at that time, but now thinking back, it's like, that's really cool. So, and then 4 o'clock, me and my brother go home by ourselves, and we'll just, do homework and waiting for my mom to come back at 5, 6, and then she'll cook us dinner, and we'll talk about what happened in school and everything. And then if it's like 8 o'clock, sometimes I have to go to after school, like for English classes, or flute class. I take flute. And if not, then if we're done with our homework, we'll go to our friend's house and chill like 2 hours to play around, and then come back home at like 9 and take a shower and go to bed. Yeah.
So, you had mentioned the school lunches and how you thought they were better than what was we have here in America. What's in a traditional like Taiwanese school lunch?
So how they do school lunch is you have 3 dishes. So, and like a staple, either rice or noodles. And 3 dishes, one will be protein. It can be chicken, meat, I mean, any kinds of meat. And the other two will be like stir-fried veggies or whatever, like tofu, whatever they do, serve. So every day is different. They rotate the lunch menu, and you get to see the lunch menu every month. And so it's funny because here you go to cafeteria to get like a plate, right? Like, and then you say, okay, I want this and that. But then in Taiwan is each class, there'll be food delivered outside of your classroom. And every day there will be different rotation of students, like 4 students, and then they'll bring the food in, and then you serve your classmates. Everyone take turns serving your classmates. And yeah, and then everyone has to bring your own lunchbox, so you don't use plastic, styrofoam, anything, no, nothing like that. You have to wash your own lunchbox as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
Mhm.
There was something that you had said that I wanted to touch on. And uh so there seems to be a large emphasis on like cleanliness in school. Would that be correct?
Yeah, yeah. So we have to clean the school. Everyone in the school, like different, maybe different grade do different things. When you're in first grade, you probably clean your own classroom. But when we meant clean, well, what we meant by cleaning is not just like putting the toys away. It's like getting down on your knees, scratching the floors, and I mean, um, wipe down the tables and everything. This is pre-COVID, like we're really doing this. And then like different grades do different things. And then, when you get older, you have to clean the bathroom for the floor, for the whole floor. Yeah. So there's no like janitors or anything. We're the janitors. Yeah.
So how did the school system work when you were a child? Like here we have, kindergarten through fifth grade, middle school and then high school. Is it a similar system?
So kindergarten is not like mandatory. It's not K-12. We do first grade to sixth grade. That's elementary school. And middle school is seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade. And you go to high school. High school 3 years, or in college 4 years. But I didn't go to high school. I went to almost like a trading school, but it's a very special kind of trading school. I think only in Taiwan. We have to spend 5 years in there. So the first 3 years kind of like high school, but we have more freedoms. And the second 2 years are like in the associate degree. Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe your experience in this trade school?
Yeah, so I went to the trade school because I did not like, I am very bad at math or science, any of those classes. And my mom sees me like, she went to a trade school too. She doesn't think I'm the kind of person that will, you know, um, stick through high school, because the high school in Taiwan is very different than here in US. It's very strict. It's highly, highly emphasized on standardized tests and everything. So my mom don't think that can work for me. So she encouraged me to go to this trade school instead. So I went. So you get to pick what majors you want to do, obviously based on your kind of like an SAT test. So there are different fields you can choose. You can do business, you can do accounting, you can do what else? Computer science, and I chose foreign language applications. So learning English, but it's not just like the regular English class. You do like business English, or what else? Like studying about the Greeks, mythologies, kind of thing. Yeah, and the first 3 years you kind of have to take classes like regular high school, but it's not, you don't get tests on. So pretty much very happy, we skip classes all the time. And we don't need to wear a uniform. A lot of high schools in Taiwan do wear uniforms. So it's kind of like a free hippie style place. Yes.
So,
Yeah,
were foreign languages something that you had always had an interest in growing up?
I mean, I love, I love English. I mean, growing up, my mom said when I was a kid, I would go to talk to foreigners, pretend I speak English, but I don't. I would just be like, blah, 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 blah. But I don't really speak the language. Um, and yeah, so my English skills was pretty good in my middle school. And I wanted, since I don't like any of the other subjects, so my mom's like, why don't you pick foreign language? However, in the trade school, you have to do foreign language, not just English. You have to pick another language. So Japanese is mandatory, which is funny because Taiwan was actually colonized by Japan. I don't know if that's the reason why they make it mandatory. You have to learn Japanese for 5 years. But we did not have a good teacher, so I learned nothing. And then we have other offerings such as like French or Spanish. But it's a trade school. It's kind of kumbaya, like you kind of learn whatever you wanted to. You don't get tests on. It's not like a traditional high school. So unless you're really interested in it, I don't think any of my classmates learn a lot from the class. Yeah, but the English, I mean, we have an English teacher that teaches like English listening, and we have a class with her for 3 years, and the only thing she does is play Friends. Like imagine your teacher and she doesn't teach, she just play Friends, and we just watch Friends. So that's how I learn all the American slangs and
One way to learn, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, she does. The teachers in that trade school, they just kind of in their tenure position, so they don't really care and they don't do any research. So they're just there. They don't improve themselves or anything. Yeah.
That's funny. So to shift things back to, I guess, a little bit younger, what were some of your favorite places to be as a child?
I like to go to my aunt's house. One of my aunts lived close to us, and she's also deaf. She used to babysit us. We like to go to her house because my cousins are there, and my aunt's husband, he's really nice to us too. When my dad's not around, like he'll take us to places, and yeah, we spent a lot of time in their house and my mom's friend's house. We're still friends with up to today. Yeah, and I don't know, when I was a kid, I like to listen to people, like older people, talk about gossip. Yeah, so that's the place. And when I'm with my brother, we go to park a lot. We just kind of like the free wild kids, no parents around. We just go by ourselves.
Can you tell me a little bit about your friends growing up as well?
Yeah. So my friends from elementary school, or like what kind, I guess I do have childhood friends. We know each other since kindergarten, and we still stay in contact. But it's not like, those kind of friends that just like, you don't update each other for every little things. But when you meet, you clicked, like you can talk to that freely because you guys know each other for so long. We still are in relationship with them. And then my friends from elementary school, I don't remember many because I only went to elementary school till 5th grade, and we moved to China. And I have I when we first got to China, I went to an international class, and then in that class, there are friends from all around the world, but a lot of them are older. I don't know why they just put us in the same class. Not friend with them anymore. And then my mom sent me to a local school. And at first, I had so much trouble in that school because I'm the only Taiwanese in that whole school. and I got picked on a lot, and partially because of, they see Taiwanese as a wealthy populations, and I go to school. At the time, I'm dumb myself. Like, I'll go to school in cab, and then people will be like, it's like at that time, we went to Shanghai. We live in Shanghai. At that time, Shanghai is not as modern, or like, the life expenditure there is very cheap. So we can afford like a nanny in the house, and go to school in cab and all kind of things. But for my friends, that's not. For my classmates at that time, it's something crazy. So I got picked on a lot, and after a while, I guess we're just getting along, and then I'm still, I have their contact info, talk to them, say Merry Christmas or Happy New Year sometimes, but not like close relationship. Yeah.
How long did you spend in China?
We spent 4 years. We lived there for like 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
All right. So then you said you moved in 5th grade, and then was that correct?
Yeah, 5th grade to eighth grade.
Okay.
I repeated 8th grade when I come back to Taiwan, because it's so different. Like the two countries, the thing we learned, it's very different.
Alrighty. I get you now. What kind of games did you play with your friends when you were a child?
Um, Obviously not iPhone.
What was that?
Obviously not iPhone games.
Okay.
um, um, what games we play? I think I don't know. Let me think about it.
Or general activities that you guys did.
We talked a lot. I mean, girls chatty, I guess. And I play with my brothers a lot. Like sometimes he'll play with me with the games I like, and sometimes because we spend a lot of time alone. Not My mom's not around, my dad's not around. We spend a lot of time, like in summer vacations. We pretty much every day we're at home by ourselves. Yeah, and we watch a lot of TV, and we'll go to park, and we play video games. Me and my brother. Um, what else? Yeah, sometimes he'll have to follow my rules. Not sometimes, a lot of times. Like the games I want to play, like like what is that called? Like make up your own story, kind of act it out. Yeah.
What kind of shows and video games did you guys?
We watch a lot of comedy movies. Yeah, there. I don't know if you know Stephen Chow comedy.
I don't.
Very famous in Taiwan, and we watch a lot. Like my brother can recite every line from the movie, and we watch too much movie to one point that my mom has to tape up the TV or took the remote to work. Otherwise, we will just sit there and watch TV whole day. Yeah, and the video games we play are like to fight the zombie video game kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. So on kind of a different note, did religion play a role in your upbringing at all?
So we do have like tomb sweeping festival, which is like in March, and it's not really like a religion, but you go to the ancestors' tomb, and then you kind of say prayers, and you have to hold a scent, whatever. But my mom's family is more religious. They're more like the Taiwanese customs kind of thing. They worship. They have like a little altar in their household. But I was never, and when my grandparents died, you will have the priest kind of, no, not the Catholic priest, but I don't know how you call them, but they will come over with some chant, Buddhism, Taoism, but it's never like enforced on me. And, but when I moved here, my parents converted to Christian. Yeah, and my husband's family are Catholic. And then they want a Catholic wedding. I'm like, sure, I don't care. So then we're forced to go to like a Catholic pre-wedding session to learn about how to be Catholic family. Yeah. So I'm never like, fake prayers or religious person myself. Yeah.
All right. And the ancestor honoring, if that would be an all right way to put it, is
Mhm.
that more of a general cultural thing in Taiwan, or was that more associated with a particular religion?
It's an it's more associated with the Taiwan customs, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. So when you grew up, what kind of life and profession did you imagine having as a grown-up? Like your dream job or your dream family, dream house?
I when I was a kid, I always told my mom told me this. I want to travel around the world. I will. I told her I'll send my kids to you so you can watch them. And I want to be a reporter. One point, I want to go to Afghanistan and work like places like that. War zone to do be a reporter. Yeah, I want to be around the world. I guess it has a lot to do with, you know, when we moved to China and come back to Taiwan, because you kind of like your perspective got wide open. If I grow up in Taiwan and just stay in one place, I don't think I'll be something like, I want to be involved in a bigger world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then you would say that moving to China definitely helped
Expand,
shape your
yeah, expanded my perspective and where I want to be.
interest. Did you ever want like a family or anything like that, or kids when you were younger?
Yeah, I do want kids. And I told my mom I want to marry to a foreigner, and I did. I don't know. Yeah.
So, in sum, what kinds of feelings and words come to mind when you remember your childhood in Taiwan?
Childhood in Taiwan. I would say freedom, yet with discipline, you know, and independence. We're very independent, me and my brother. Um, yeah, and what else? Time in Taiwan. That's pretty much it, I guess.
And then, lastly, if you could tell your 10-year-old self one thing, what would it be?
10-year-old self. Um, I will tell them, um, you know, the world is so big. There's so much, opportunities out there you can take. Just go wild and enjoy your life. I guess like, now looking back, I'm not always like in the traditional model, I would say. Um, so I always be like kind of rebellious. I'll stand up for my when if my aunt say something really mean to me. They have nothing to do with your life. They have no control of your life. This is your life. You choose to live the way you want it. So what if they say mean things to you, and you can find some other places where appreciate you being there and where they think you're a success, not a failure. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about your experiences?
um, I I guess this is more like how I shape my own identity as a Taiwanese. When you grow up in the same place, you probably don't have that strong feeling like, oh, I identify myself as Taiwanese. The most vivid experience I had was moving to China, and then I was forced to sing their national anthem and forced to wear the scarf they have to wear as a kid. It's like, a part of their flag, kind of like a symbolism thing. And, when I was bullied in school because I'm Taiwanese and how they see me as an outsider all the time. And that's when I form a very strong identity as a Taiwanese, like, how I see I'm very different from Chinese, even though we speak the same language. And yeah, like I remember every time I come back for vacations from China, even though I so strongly identify myself as Taiwanese, I will always be questions by my relatives like, oh, do you like China better or Taiwan? It's almost like the way they ask, because that's also the point where my parents are about to get divorced. So it's almost like their way of asking, do you like your dad better or your mom better? So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Well, unless there was anything you wanted to add, I think that concludes the interview.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank